For exhausted people of our nation mired in toxic partisanship, left versus right, us versus them. While we pay to keep our politicians fighting, how do we, the people, rise up and solve the great challenges of our time? We do it by embracing freedom and liberty. There may be no such thing as a free lunch, but this hour is as close as it gets. Welcome to A Free Solution.
All right, welcome everyone to A Free Solution. I'm Kevin Wilson, your host today. Thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate y'all being here. We're live here on WYSL until 1 p.m., which means that you listeners can participate in the show today if you would like to be a part of it. Give us a call, 866-552-1009. That's 866-552-1009. Wherever you're listening, call that number, participate in the show, or leave your comments online on the Free Solution Facebook page, a Free Solution YouTube channel, or the Kevin Wilson pages, wherever you're listening today. Thank you for being here. Shout down the line to our friends over at WACK out in Newark, too. Appreciate y'all listening as well. All right, so today we're going to talk about yet another unconstitutional, undeclared war, another military action taking place in Iraq and Syria, a continued extension of the barely restrained, barely restricted authorization of use of military force, the AUMF. We have a lot of these things, as it turns out, but the House tried to repeal the 2002 AUMF, that post 9/11, that gave the president broad authority to go and start new wars in the Middle East. It wasn't just limited to Afghanistan. It has expanded so many times. Now, I bring this up because, well, the Biden administration, like I said, they're at it again. They bombed some, they said, like Iran-backed militias on the border of Iraq and Syria. And so it ended up killing 7 fighters, which, cool, but also, not really cool. That's, it's still not great. I doubt they were good folk, but it's not great to celebrate that. But in addition to killing those 7 fighters who are, allegedly part of this, militia, they also killed a child and 3 civilians. So 7 fighters killed, 4 people, including a child, killed in this. And you can't help but wonder, by killing those people, by killing those non-combatants, especially a child, how does that exacerbate the situation over there? How does that radicalize people? When you kill someone's child, what is the long-term consequences of people seeing that dead child and knowing that the United States was part of that in a place where we are not supposed to be at war anymore? We don't have any declared war in this region. We were supposed to be out of Iraq. We're supposed to be out of Syria. President Trump promised that he would do that. He didn't. He failed. He said he would keep America first. He did not do that here. And now we got Biden over there doing the same stuff. It's so funny. Like the absolute hypocrisy of it all too kills me, because, we have Nancy Pelosi talking, about like the need to restrain executive power, and how, when Trump was in office and when Bush was in office, and how we've got to make sure that we can't get into these unconstitutional illegal wars and all that stuff. All these, peace-loving Democrats saying, like, we've got to get out of these wars in the Middle East. Obama's the same way. Then as soon as they get into power, as soon as their team's in power, well, then that's just responsible foreign policy. They're just doing what they need to do to keep American troops safe. Guys, it doesn't keep us safe. In fact, it may very well do the opposite. Like they tried to claim that this was a defensive strike, but if it's defensive, what are we doing over there? How does it still represent U.S. interests to have U.S. troops or U.S. security forces over at the border of Syria and Iraq? What's the point anymore? No, we're spending tons of money, harming our reputation overseas, and putting American lives in danger. For what? For what? I mean, if anyone wants to call in and enlighten me, again, give me a call, 585-346-3000 or 866-552-1009, whatever you want to do. This type of stuff, it's almost not even news anymore, right? Again, president of the United States takes unconstitutional legal action. Not even news anymore, but yeah, they tried to claim this is defensive action to drone strike these Iraqi militia members overseas. And this is why it's really important to take away that power from the president. It wasn't. I was saying this during President Trump. I was saying this during President Obama. I wasn't saying this during the Bush administration because I was under 18 and I was kind of backing all this stuff at this time as much as I could as someone who couldn't even vote yet. I was like, oh yeah, like I support the war. It's great. Didn't become anti-war until after that, where I see, this doesn't represent America's interest. This doesn't make sense to continue spending our money over there, using our resources over there, and harming our reputation over in the Middle East. What are we still doing? So we have these laws, not actual declaration of wars, but these authorization, the use of military force statements that kind of still give the president open-ended permission to engage in these things in a quasi-legal way, right? Again, it's not a declaration of war. We haven't done that in a while. But this is something that allows the president to have some sort of legal cover to do this stuff. Not that anyone challenged him, right? Like even the War Powers Resolution, which was supposed to restrain the presidents, this was something that came, after like the Pentagon Papers came out and stuff in light of the Vietnam War, is supposed to restrain the president so that if they did need to make an immediate attack, they could do that, but they had to provide a justification for that later on. The Obama administration, Trump, no one cared about it. And even when they get challenged in court, it never goes anywhere. It's sad. The president can commit our troops, American lives, American dollars overseas with very, very little restraint. So we have these authorizations of military force. In fact, they stay in the books nearly forever. And what's wild to me is, I just saw a article from yesterday that apparently we had these AUMFs for the 1991 Gulf War in Iraq. We still have that. In fact, yeah, again, it hasn't been repealed yet. The House voted to repeal, but we still have that. There's a 1957 resolution that provided, I'm quoting from a Hill article now, provided broad authorization for military action in the Middle East to protect against armed aggression from any country controlled by international communism. Just a blank check to go to war in the Middle East, still, over communism. From 1957. It's still around. What is that doing around? Why has Congress neglected their responsibility to pull back these blank checks? Pull back the ability of the executive branch to get us entangled in these new conflicts, commit more, again, American resources, American lives to these conflicts based on decades old policy. I mean, could they have used it? Have they used it since then? I've got to do a bit more research to see. Has anyone used that 1957 AUMF to go into war? As far as I know, no. But both of these, so they ended up getting passed in the House, and that was 366 to 46. Apparently, all the no votes came from Republicans. I don't quite understand that. Like, what Republican still thinks that like we need to have a 1957 authorization of use of military force still in effect? Like, why do we need that? So why do we still need the first Gulf War resolution in place? How does that make sense anymore? What, like, it's like Congress doesn't even want to govern. It's like they just like, no, we're gonna let the president do whatever he wants. I'm sure he'll do it fine. Whatever. And listen, the president, they're probably going to do it anyway. The Biden administration didn't actually cite, the 2002 AMF, which may sort of kind of give him the authority to do that stuff over the middle. He doesn't care. He's just going to do what he wants to do. Play with global politics. Hurt the United States, not keep America first. Just doing that. Again, Trump did the same thing too. So don't be like, oh, don't you wish we had Trump in office? No, that guy did the same thing. So don't save your comments and your calls on that stuff. They're both bad. So is Obama. So is Bush. It's all bad. It's all bad all the way down. You're not going to find good presidents on foreign policy in the last few decades. They don't exist. And we could have had one. We could have had, Gary Johnson. We could have had Ron Paul. We could have had some great folks. No, we decided not to do that. Oh, well, that is what it is. All right. So thanks again for joining us here on A Free Solution. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about that, our commitments in the Middle East, how we can start to pull out of those a bit. If we're going to be able to do that ever. Thanks again for joining us. If you want to participate in the conversation, again, give us a call, 585-346-3000. That's 585-346-3000. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at Simple Tech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, Simple Tech Innovations should be your first call. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. Simple Tech Innovations.
The Finger Lakes Castle team is in its 7th decade of factory direct service to the service professional. From cleaning the ins and outs of your vehicle to keeping you on the road, Castle's got you covered. Castle makes streak-proof glass cleaner, FDA-registered sanitizers, and EPA-registered hospital-grade disinfectants. Remember, when you need to keep it clean, use what the pros use. Castle. Accept no substitutes.
Castle keeps it clean.
A message from the National Police Association. It used to be that any able-bodied person would offer to assist a police officer in danger. Now, passers-by are more likely to take a video. There's a better use for your phone when an officer's in trouble. Call 911. Tell the operator where you are and what you see. Then, start your video to provide evidence later. To learn more about how you can assist law enforcement, visit nationalpolice.org. That's nationalpolice.org.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to Simple Tech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that Simple Tech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at Simple Tech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at Simple Tech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. Simple Tech Innovations.
A free solution.
Welcome back to A Free Solution. I'm Kevin Wilson, your host for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, we're live here on WYSL until 1 p.m., so give us a call, 866-552-1009. First half, we're talking about war, foreign policy, being involved in the Middle East, and whether or not we should have these decades-old authorizations for the use of military force. and again, why would people be opposed to them? How do we restrain executive authority in these situations, and how do we make sure that we're keeping America first in this sense, that we are focused on how to make life better here rather than going overseas and half the time messing stuff up. So again, there's nothing against the people serving over there. I come from a military family, but guys, the country has no business being there. It's not the veterans here and the active military personnel who are choosing that. It's our politicians who are sending our family members, our friends into war and destabilizing some of these countries in many cases because we got involved in somewhere where we have no end goal, we have no aim. And I remember it was still when the Afghanistan papers came out. I think it was like December 2019. Andrew and I were talking about that, way back when. And yeah, like even back then, that's coming up a year and a half ago, it was pretty clear that decades ago, well, not decades ago, but over a dozen years ago, we'd kind of lost purpose over there. We're coming up on the 20th anniversary of being in Afghanistan. The Biden administration, for whatever reason, has decided that they need to extend the official withdrawal until September. And I still don't quite understand why that is. And I really, really hope they stick to that. It's been a promise that's been made since 2008, when Obama made that promise, Trump made that promise, Biden's now making this promise, getting out of Afghanistan. We don't have an end goal over there. We don't know what victory even looks like anymore. It's just, at this point, ending American lives, ending Afghani lives, making people more bitter. And I know the situation isn't going to be great when the United States and supporters leave. Which reminds me, this is an issue I haven't talked much about, and maybe I'll have to do like a whole show on this one later on. But there's still an issue nowadays too with the supporters of U.S. forces in that region. People like interpreters, people with logistics, people doing all sorts of different jobs. Like the people of Afghanistan. There's still issues with finding ways to get them out too, because a lot of them are like, "Hey, we helped you. If we're left behind, and the government's going to be run by a Taliban or whoever, they're going to kill us because in the minds of Taliban, they collaborated with the enemy." And it's disgusting to see so many members of Congress say that those people don't deserve an opportunity to come to the United States. They want to come to the United States. They essentially served, our government at some point in time, put their lives and their families' lives at risk to, help the U.S. forces over there. And now we're shutting the door in their face, saying, "No, you can't come." No, it's going to be death for those people. We need to make it as easy as possible to get them over there. If it's someone who's been working with us, working with the American government over there for a while, why on earth wouldn't we want them over here? We trust them to protect lives overseas, to work with our armed forces over there. Why wouldn't we allow them to come over here? And it's disappointing to see even people like Rand Paul saying that, like, no, we shouldn't do this, or they want to make the process so difficult and arduous, lumping them in with refugees, which I'm generally fine with refugees coming over here. That's fine. The Biden administration, as much as I see the conservative side say, "Oh, they're opening up the refugees, opening up to everyone," they haven't done that either. They have made it pretty limited. But again, these are, I think, people who are in a separate class who deserve the fast track, who deserve to be able to come over here, live their lives. They've put themselves in danger sometimes for many, many years. I think they've earned a ticket here, earned a ticket to be able to come over here and live their lives. And to have people imply like, "Oh, well, maybe they're too dangerous. Maybe we need to do more extensive background checks on these people that have been working with, with us for years." No, they need the opportunity to just come over now, and it's a life or death thing. So I want to do a whole show on that one. It's been a bill that's coming up, and I know there's some movement in Congress to get those folks over, which is great. I think that's what should happen. Anyway, back to the main topic at hand. That was a little bit of a side tangent, but the main topic at hand is that we need to continue repealing any of these. And I have to look because I just saw the AUMF story this morning too, with the 1957 one and the 1991 one, and I had to laugh because I've been talking about repealing the 2002 one, AUMF, for a while. That gives us a blank check to operate in the Middle East, and just to find out like how long some of these laws have sat on the books is amazing. And I think the laws ended up being supported by Pete Meyer, who is the guy who replaced Justin Amash out in Michigan, and I'm very excited to see that there's still a good anti-war member of Congress over there. Again, someone who's making sure that we're keeping America first and making sure that we're not involved in these overseas conflicts that we have no business being in. But we need to make sure that the president doesn't have to be able to do that. Again, President Biden shouldn't be able to go and just bomb people because he says, well, Iran backed them, so we get to bomb them. Like, we're not at war with Iran. We shouldn't be sending random drone strikes and these people. Like, what's the goal of that? What's the end goal of killing these 7 people? What difference does it make other than to re-engage us in this conflict that we thought we were finally out of? That most American people are like, oh, well, we're winding down things in Syria and Iraq, right? The Iraq war is over. It is what it is. Win, lose, whatever. It's done. Yeah, here we are again. And again, I think of the old, Ron Paul days. Like, how does it make sense to be over there? How does it make sense to get engaged? And I used to think like it was insulting or unpatriotic to question our purpose in these areas. I remember yelling at like a high school substitute teacher when she had said something about like, oh yeah, like our being engaged in the Middle East is creating more terrorists than it's destroying. And like the concept of blowback, upset me for a while. I was like, how dare you? These people just hate our freedom. They just hate our way of life. They're just jealous, whatever it is. But listen, that's not it. It's a radicalizing notion. Again, I talked about how there's a child killed here. Like, imagine if that was your son or daughter, your niece or nephew, just a son or daughter of a friend. And you see them die at the hands of a drone. And someone there, just death from above. You don't know why. You don't know how they're caught in the crossfire. And the explanation of, oh, they're just in the wrong place at the wrong time when some bad people happen to be through. That's not much comfort when that life is taken away from you. So what do? Again, it radicalizes you. It turns you into someone who hates the American government, not because of freedom, but because a loved one died and you want revenge. And you're angry and you don't understand why this happened to you, why this happened to your friend, why this may have happened to an innocent child. That type of stuff is what creates America's enemies overseas. I know there are some legitimately bad people, bad movements, not great stuff going on, right? People who are hurting other people and hurting children in the same way. We don't need to contribute to that evil by doing drone strikes, by killing civilians, by killing people who are just trying to do what you and I are trying to do, just trying to live our normal lives. We're hoping for peace, and we want to find, ways to make sure we stop the bad guys. But if you are seeing the American government kill your friends, your family, children in your community, yeah, you're gonna hate us. You're gonna see the United States as the bad guy. It doesn't matter what the other people around you are doing. The other people around you are telling you, see, we're going to fix that. We're going to stop that. Join us and we'll go and stop that stuff. That's why we need to get out of the Middle East right now. And then Joe Biden needs to get us out of Afghanistan as soon as possible. Joe Biden needs to get us out of Iraq as soon as possible. And all the other conflicts that we're starting to get involved in and like Somalia and a few other places in Africa too. We have all these undeclared conflicts going on. Congress needs to set a firm line. I'm not just putting this on Joe Biden. Joe Biden, president's going to do what president's going to do until they are constitutionally restrained, until we take that power away from them. And this falls on Congress to do so. And until our parties can also have a consistent set of principles on this too. You can't yell about the president having this power when the opposite party is in charge and then say it's totally fine when yours is in charge. My goodness, can you have some principles, morals, and consistency here? No, I'm sorry. You're not going to get that in the Republican Democratic parties. Just ain't going to happen. All right. Thanks again for joining us here on A Free Solution. Again, we're live here until 1, so if you want to participate in the conversation, give us a call, 585-346-3000 or 866-552-1009. We're going to be back in just a few minutes.
Now it's Dan Bongino, weekday afternoons.
WYSL.
AM 1040 Avon, Rochester, FM 92.1 Rochester, and FM 95.5 Spencerport.
Here's the latest forecast from the News 10 NBC Weather Center for today. Going to be warm and muggy, but not as hot. There'll be a little bit more cloud cover out there, and there will be that threat for some showers and some thunderstorms this afternoon. There'll be a local strong to severe storm in the afternoon, so keep an eye to the sky for that. Temps today in the 80s tonight. Passing shower or thunderstorm will drop back into the 60s. Cooler weather coming up. Couple of showers Thursday in the 70s. I'm Rich Ganillia, WYSL.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at Simple Tech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, Simple Tech Innovations should be your first call. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. Simple Tech Innovations.
Hello, I'm Alan Ginsberg of the A.M. Ginsberg Advisory Group. Hope you're coping well with the changes we've all had to make in day-to-day living during these crazy times. So, now that you've done all your projects, cooked every new recipe you have, and made your YouTube videos, ask yourself, are your financial plans and investments working in today's world? Is your family secure if you die or become disabled? Are the wills you made 10 or 20 years ago still valid today? Now may be the time to evaluate where you are financially and review your estate planning as well. We're available for appointments by phone or Zoom meeting, or we can meet in my office with CDC compliant procedures. Please give us a call, 585-377-4720, or check out our website at amginsbergadvisorygroup.com.
Securities offered through Securities America Inc., member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services offered through Securities America Advisors Inc., AM Ginsberg Advisory Group, and the Securities America companies are separate entities.
Because your future is worth it. MGM Associates Insurance, proudly serving the region since 1984. MGM can meet your coverage needs, ranging from home, condo, and auto, all the way to specialized policies for business, workers' comp, to limo and taxi insurance, and coverage for tech professionals like IT specialists. They can also help lead you through the confusing maze in the new world of health insurance coverage and options. MGM Associates is large enough to serve you, but small enough to care, so you don't have to wait in line on some 800 number to get prompt personal attention. MGM Associates is the only winner of the National Best Practices Award 5 times in a row. MGM is proud to support veterans groups, including Heroes Home Advantage. For your personal, business, home, or professional insurance needs, meet the professionals at MGM Associates Insurance, locally and proudly owned at 1745 Penfield Road in Penfield, 381-7008, or mgminsure.com, an associate of Ontario Insurance Company, 28 Canandaigua Street in Shortsville.
Join the fun at the Genesee Valley Tennis and Croquet Club in Geneseo. Enjoy tennis on our state-of-the-art clay court or golf-style croquet. Get some exercise, enjoy the competition, and meet a great group of people, all in a picturesque setting. Your first 3 times playing are free. Join the fun at the Genesee Valley Club. Call 233-5338. That's 233-5338, or see our website at www.gvtc.club.
Mitchell Pearson Jr. Realtors Incorporated was founded in 1972 to offer comprehensive real estate services throughout the greater Rochester and Finger Lakes areas. And Mitchell Pearson will touch numerous nonprofits, including the United Way, Pittsford Volunteer Fire Department, the New York Warrior Alliance Wounded Warrior Program, Mercy Flight, and the Challenger World Series. They truly live up to their motto. Attention, care, effort, integrity have always been the cornerstone of their approach to helping you. Remember the name, Mitchell Pearson Jr. Realtors.
You know what would taste really good right about now? Hershey's Premium Ice Cream. And that means Colby's Ice Cream and Bake Shop. 36 flavors, smoothies, soft serve, sundaes, milkshakes. Summertime just tastes better at Colby's Ice Cream and Bake Shop. West Henrietta Road at 390 in Rush. Colby's. Eat in, pig out.
Avon Gun and Hunting Supply, a locally owned and operated gun shop specializing in pre-owned firearms and repairs. Get your rifle, shotgun, or pistol serviced and tuned before you take it to the field. Open Tuesday through Saturday. Avon Gun and Hunting Supply, East Main Street, next to the Bank of Castile.
A free solution.
All right, welcome back to A Free Solution. I'm Kevin Wilson, your host today. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, we are live here on WISL. You can call in 866-552-1009. Got a little ticker on my online version now. If you're listening on Facebook, A Free Solution, or YouTube, Free Solution, or the Kevin Wilson pages. So I got that number there if you want to call in or just leave a comment. So anyhow, we were talking about the authorization military force stuff, the AOMF repeals, and by the way, I did look up like what the New York votes were on the 2002 one, and it's basically along partisan lines, like almost entirely. Tom Reed voted for that repeal, but folks like Katko wants to have Joe Biden have unlimited executive power. Stefanik, Tenney, super disappointing. Big government actions. Yeah, no, sad. I wish Republicans stood for small government, and yeah, you ain't doing it, and that bums me out. Oh well, I guess I'll have to keep voting Libertarian. That's how it's gonna have to go. Well, I am going to switch topics, though. We're gonna talk about an incident that happened out in Alabama. It caught my attention this morning, and it was. And I'll share the link for those listening online. If you're listening on the radio, go back on the Free Solution page later on today and check it out. I'll post a link to the article going down there. And I swear I'm going to tie this back to New York State too, because there's a thing in there that where the local DA mentions New York State. But anyway, here's what happened. And the headline is Alabama removes toddler from Michigan family found in marijuana. Right. So this family, they had, some sort of, medical marijuana thing. A young family. So mom, dad, and an 18-month-old baby. And they were driving from Michigan down to her in-laws' house and then picking him up in Alabama or down near the Alabama-Mississippi border, and then they're driving back, right? So that was the plan. Just go pick up the baby, drive back. When they did this, though, the police, saw the husband smoking outside, and they said that they smelled marijuana on his breath, whatever that was, and then they searched the car. They found marijuana. Okay, not a great thing. Not like a ton. It's not like they're moving stuff. For it sounds like, but enough marijuana for like personal use. And what they did is they decided to arrest the family and put the child in foster care. And to me, just kind of feels like kidnapping. I feel like we've moved to a point where if you have a small amount of marijuana in most states, it is a slap on the wrist, a fine at most, or if you live in one of the states that value liberty, you just get off. Now, this guy did fail, allegedly, a roadside sobriety test, but that charge got thrown out, so didn't end up keeping that charge. There was also methadone in the car. The mother was apparently, a recovering addict, a tough thing, But again, they charged this couple with felony chemical endangerment for having marijuana in the car. Kidnapped this child, removed it from the family, removed it from the in-laws, and from this, this couple for what? For what reason? And if you feel differently about it, if you feel that like a state government should kidnap a child because someone has marijuana in the car, I'd love to hear from you. Give us a call, 866-552-1009. Again, I don't think this is any worse than having alcohol in the car. Yeah, you can have your child in a dangerous situation with legal drugs, with alcohol. You could. In most states, if you have a little bit of marijuana on you, that's not the end of the world. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. No, they should have just obeyed the law. They shouldn't have done that. Yeah, that was stupid, right? I get it. That this was the law in Alabama. You got to know the law where you are. But it's a stupid law, and it's a stupid consequence, and I just can't imagine, right? Like, again, I have a young child. I've talked about this on the show before too. I had a baby a few months ago. I can't imagine if for something that was legal in New York State, something that is a victimless crime, like having a bit of weed, if the state stole my child for that, I'd be livid. I'd go nuts. And like I feel so bad for this set of parents who have to experience this stuff. They've taken something, again, that's not a crime in other places, that's not actually hurting anyone, that's probably not in any way putting this child in any real danger, and they've stolen the child from this family and put him with strangers. 18-month-old kid. It's terrible. Why do we think it's acceptable for a government to do this in the United States, to kidnap children on behalf of the war on drugs? I can't. I don't know. It drives me nuts to see this type of stuff, and to see it still happening today. And to be honest, it's been going on for a while. It still happens in other states too. This is just a more extreme version of that. And because our court systems are in many cases backed up, and including down in Alabama, the family court systems are going to be backed up. This may take months to resolve. Months of this time in this young kid's life, and they're not able to leave the state now. It took them days to get out of jail because they're from out of state. And yeah, I know it's not responsible. I know it's not smart. They said the legal complaints, and they had bowls, and they had a couple ounces of weed. Like, who cares? Who cares? Sorry, like I can't. Like it's a thing where, like, if you want to do this, if you want to have marijuana illegal, okay, like take it away, fine them, do whatever. Don't take away someone's kid. The punishment doesn't fit the crime. Just because there's stuff around. And actually, that's something that drives me nuts too. With the a lot. Sorry to pick on some of the local news stations, but a lot of local news stations will run stories like this where they'll be like, whoa, careful, guys. This bag of cookies is actually weed. And listen, if you've ever seen that stuff, if you're a parent who consumes that type of stuff, keep that out of reach of your kids. It's pretty out. You're not going to accidentally buy one of these bags. You're not going to get forget what it's called. There's like some Chips Ahoy ripoff that was, like marijuana cookies. The parent are not going to confuse those with the regular cookies. Keep them out of reach of your kids. Don't be dumb with them. If you're going to do that stuff, yeah, keep it away from your kids. That's what you should do. But also, I don't think that the state should kidnap you if you have it like in sight of your children. It's dumb. You shouldn't do it. But the state shouldn't be using violence and kidnapping to deal with that problem. They should find other ways to deal with parents who are being dumb and irresponsible, and understand the difference between the level of danger that a child is being put in. Because it is different. It's not the same thing as actively hurting a child just because you have marijuana in the house. I might not like it. You might not like it, but it doesn't necessarily mean that kid's going to get hurt. And in this case, again, I don't see how this is much different from kidnapping. This is the state-sponsored kidnapping. Breaks my heart. And yeah, now it's going to take months to figure out. Months of this young child's life spent away from parents. I don't know why I would do in that situation. Like I said, I'd be livid. I'd be upset. I value every moment with my kid that I can. And I did say I would tie this back to New York too. And I will do that. I don't think I have enough time to do that before the next break, but I will tie it back to New York State because there's a similar situation that exists up here, that exists in other states related to your Second Amendment rights. And they use this to make a point, run straight into that point, and then decide that they're still going to do this thing anyway. Okay, so thanks again for joining us here on A Free Solution. If you want to participate in this discussion, give us a call, 866-552-1009. We're going to be back in just a few minutes to keep talking about this.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to Simple Tech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that Simple Tech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at Simple Tech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at Simple Tech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. Simple Tech Innovations.
Hi, my name is Ryan Bourne.
And I'm Danica Bourne.
And we're the owners of South Coast Tax. We would like to thank our Lord for protecting us from evil. Psalm 91 states, "He is my refuge and my fortress, for he will rescue us from every trap and protect us from deadly disease."
South Coast Tax are Christian-based tax accountants and attorneys who specialize in releasing bank levies, wage garnishments, and filing complex tax returns. We are the leaders in acceptance of offers and compromise with awesome results.
We are also a small firm who will treat you like family and not just a number.
Call us today at 1-800-TAX-1176 for a free consultation, and we'll take the time to explain all of the programs that you qualify for in order to allow you a fresh start.
In John 8:36, so if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed. And one way we can achieve that is by being debt-free. So let us help you today. Call us at 1-800-TAX-1176, and together we can help achieve this goal by putting the IRS tax debt behind you for good. Again, that number is 1-800-TAX-1176.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at Simple Tech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, Simple Tech Innovations should be your first call. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. Simple Tech Innovations.
A free solution.
Welcome back to A Free Solution. I'm Kevin Wilson, your host today. Thank you so much for joining us again. We're live here on WYSL. Give us a call if you want to participate, 866-552-1009. Or leave your comment online if you're listening on Facebook. Whatever you're doing. If you're doing that work or whatever, no judgment. I'll listen to this show during it's fine. Shout down the line to our friends over at WACK out in Newark. Thank you for listening to, and our friends listening on our podcast as well. Thank you for listening and engaging. I know not everyone can listen to a live show, but I appreciate it. If you want to weigh in afterwards, send us a message on the Free Solution page. Any one of us, me, Tim, Larry, whoever is hosting, we all get those, or contact at afreesolution.com. Thanks again for being here today. So we're talking about the situation down in Alabama where there is an 18-month-old child who was taken away from their parents because the parents had some marijuana and some bowls in the vehicle. I don't think that makes sense. I think that's a bad use of child protective services, whatever their equivalent is in Alabama. And the local DA in this, basically said, well, we're doing this because marijuana is illegal and you got to respect our laws, blah, blah, blah. And goes on to say, and this it says DA is Eric Jett is the DA's name, or Lawrence County District Attorney down in Alabama, Eric Jett. Jett says, a similar situation exists when one of our citizens has a pistol carry permit but travels to New York, for instance. In that situation, the Alabama citizen has committed a criminal offense under the laws of the state of New York. Well, yes. And that is a bad idea. You have taken someone who is not hurting anyone, who is just exercising their right to bear arms, practicing self-defense. They have a pistol, and in New York State, the battleground of tyranny, a place where we restrict a ton of liberty. Yeah, it's a ridiculous thing to arrest someone for that crime, and New York State does this all the time. It's a way to violate our rights, and it's a way that, again, that takes away our right to self-defense that you have by crossing an imaginary line, by moving over. And I get the states' rights arguments. Oh, we want to try things differently here and here, but it's still bad. And I think most of the people on the show who are listening to the show are probably going to say, now I'm just a guess, I can't assume about everyone. I know some people are going to feel differently, but most people listening to the show are probably going to say, yeah, I wish we had more Second Amendment rights in New York State. I wish we had the ability to get a pistol permit, not have to jump through so many hoops that it discourages a lot of people from applying, or it makes it impossible for some people to apply and be able to carry a firearm legally, particularly when we're seeing, rises in crime in places like Rochester, where I live. Maybe some people have a legitimate need for self-defense. Maybe they are actually worried about people breaking into their house or, attacking them on the street. They should have a right to be able to defend themselves, and it shouldn't be this difficult to be able to get a gun legally. And so a lot of times that people end up trying to get guns illegally. That's the way it ends up working. So the DA down there, they recognize this. They recognize, hey, and maybe the DA is on the other side of this issue, right? Maybe the DA doesn't like the right to bear arms, and he thinks that's a good thing New York State does that. I don't know. But I see that point, and I think, yeah, that DA is right. If you cross into New York, you're obeying the law in a bunch of other states. You're a free citizen. You are exercising your Second Amendment right. You are suddenly now a criminal as soon as you cross the border. You're now doing something illegal. The government can use violence against you to take away that right, to suppress that right. And I see the same thing with the drug laws. Now we have something like 44% of Americans live in a state where it is legal to have marijuana in some form. And the federal government's still dragging their feet on that. And actually, these issues end up being connected too, because the federal government has restrictions on who can own a gun if you use marijuana too. And that's something that also should be repealed, because half Americans live in the state where it's totally legal to do this. And you can use it. Again, I'm not encouraging you to use it. It's not good for you. For some people, it helps with certain types of disorders, for pain management, for a few other things, for sleep. If it does do that with you, that's great. It has its downsides too. It's not for everyone, right? I'm not really pro use or anti-use, but I am pro stop using government violence on people who aren't hurting anyone, which is 99.99% of people who are choosing to use this drug. Again, not saying it's a good thing. It's not necessarily a good thing. It can help with some people. Not necessarily a good thing. But if you are using it, you're using it for a medical purpose, you're using it for just recreation, whatever, I don't think you should lose your right to bear arms. I don't think that it makes sense for the government to say, well, because you're using this substance, and you have to answer that question. If you ever bought a gun, you have to answer a whole bunch of questions they ask in that process. Are you using, illegal substances like marijuana? And you either have to say yes and lose your opportunity to own a gun, or if you're, again, if you're someone who's using that stuff, then you can say no and lie, and then you're in a different type of trouble. And I'm not recommending that. I'm just saying you're in a different type of trouble. You get put in a difficult position where you're doing something that doesn't actually impair your ability to exercise your right to self-defense any more than using a legal substance like alcohol does. You should not use alcohol and then use a firearm. It's a bad idea. It's a dumb idea. You shouldn't do that. And we teach people that. Don't use your firearm unless you're sober. Same thing with other drug uses. You shouldn't use your firearm unless you're sober. You shouldn't smoke a giant bowl and then go to the shooting range. It's a bad idea. It's dumb. But just because you do that doesn't mean that you can't also be a responsible gun owner. And the federal government is restricting our right to do that, not just in New York, but in New York, Alabama, Colorado, wherever. It's a restriction everywhere. And another restriction that ought to go as we start to legalize things and allow states to make up their own rules. And just because a state has a set of rules, even another state, doesn't prevent me from. I hate the argument like, oh, states' rights, they get to do what they want. No, listen, guys, I can still call that. I still call that dumb. I still call it a bad idea. I can still say I don't think that they should do those things. I am upset with the government of Alabama, even though I have no intention of going there anytime soon. But the same logic that they use does apply to New York State. And that's why I'm tying it back. I'm seeing these similarities where, again, there's small infractions, small victimless crimes that you could do in New York State too that could result in someone's children being taken away. And that's disgusting. It's a punishment that in most cases is far beyond what is appropriate for the situation, for a situation where no one is actually being hurt. Again, if someone's actually being hurt, actually being hurt or actually in real danger, then okay. I get the case for that. I'm not totally against Child Protective Services. I'm not. But kidnapping a child in this situation in Alabama is disgusting. Taking away your Second Amendment rights in New York State, terrible. And doing other things that make it difficult for you to live your life in peace, to be able to defend yourself, that is an ongoing problem. It's a problem with the entire mindset and structure of many of our governments today, local, state, federal. And we'll have to continue attacking the logic of these situations. And that's what I hope you get out of this show, is just like understand like where's the logic for this situation come from, right? It's not necessarily a place of protection. It's a place of policing your body, of policing what you're able to do in your free time, of policing your ability to protect your home and protect your personal, have personal defense. All of that is what's under attack in both of these states. And I know a lot of people like to think that places like New York and Alabama are so far apart. Some of the same logical, illogical inconsistencies exist in both these areas. It's a problem with government itself rather than a problem with just the Democrats or just the Republicans. The same anti-liberty sentiment exists in many places throughout this country. And so we have to continue to fight to root it out. In New York State, that battle looks a bit different than it does in parts of the South, but it is still fundamentally, we're united in that, fundamentally a fight for human liberty, no matter where it is. All right. That's all I got for today's show. Again, if you have any feedback on this stuff, make sure you send us a message on A Free Solution, the Facebook page, or contact at afreesolution.com. Tim O'Connor will be in tomorrow. I'll be in Friday, also with Tim. Talk to you then.